Welcome to Turkey. Wander through the ruins of empires past, scale ancient stone fortresses, and soar above the surreal landscapes of Cappadocia, and marvel at the grandeur of Istanbul's mosques. Lose yourself in the bazaars and spice markets, and awaken your senses with the incredible Turkish cuisine. You will soon find yourself falling under this country's spell.
That was new.
This is the Dream to Journey family. Join us as we spend the next 10 days exploring Turkey.
Flying to the center of Turkey, we head to Cappadocia. Surprisingly, the airport became a memorable part of our journey. Turkey was celebrating the 100th anniversary of Republic Day, and a lively group of dancers welcomed us upon arrival. After enjoying this warm welcome, we rushed to catch our connecting flight.
Let's see your flag, Rue. Go Turkey.
A short shuttle ride brought us to one of the most unique places we have ever stayed. A cave room fit for a traveling family.
Okay, we just got in here. Let's check it out, Bailey. We give us a little tour.
So this is the king suite.
The king suite.
I wanted a spot with two separate rooms so she could sleep and we can work. There's still no door. That's okay.
No matter.
Steps are uneven. Can I help you down?
Big steps.
Our first meal was unforgettable. Do you cook it in an oven?
Yeah.
In the pot?
Okay.
Turkish ravioli and a lamb stew baked in a sealed clay pot, which is then cracked open just before serving for the best flavor.
It's so good. That was just the best.
So what is in it?
Lamb.
This is lamb.
Mm-hmm.
And Reese likes the bread. What do you think about the bread? The bread, is it yummy? No. The restaurant even brought soup for our little one, free of charge, and provided blankets so we could dine comfortably outside. This was our first taste of the incredible Turkish hospitality we enjoyed throughout our travels. At sunrise, we woke to a sight we had never seen before. We were just in our hotel room and we heard a fire-breathing dragon coming out. So I came outside to see what was going on. There's a hot air balloon that had just taken off in front of our hotel. Oh, but just look at that. It's amazing. Hundreds of hot air balloons drifting across the sky in the golden morning light. Again? The magic continued over breakfast, where our table was filled with traditional Turkish dishes and, of course, plenty of tea.
Just a short drive from our base in Goreme, we visit Uchisar Castle, a towering rock that was transformed into a fortress. Over the centuries, tunnels, rooms, and storage spaces were carved into the soft rock, creating a maze-like honeycomb of living spaces. The ingenuity of using the natural landscape this way was truly incredible to witness. This UNESCO World Heritage Site dates back over 4,000 years to the Bronze Age. Climbing to the top of the castle, the highest point in Cappadocia, gave us stunning panoramic views of the valleys below. No wonder this fortress has been so important in watching over this region for millennia. We did it! We made it to the top!
How does a butterfly fly?
We spent hours exploring its many nooks and crannies, imagining what life might have been like here.
You got this, Indiana Jones. Just pull out your whip and swing across. Do you like this house? Cheese.
Go give me a big hug. Oh, yes. Okay, go find mommy. Oh, you found her.
You did it. Good job.
From Uchisar Castle, we hiked through Pigeon Valley back to Goreme. Pigeon Valley gets its name from the pigeon houses carved into the rocks. Farmers once used pigeon droppings as natural fertilizer for their crops, making these birds an important part of life here. If you're going to take this hike, be sure to wear good shoes and bring water. Offline maps helped us from straying off the path. Our hike back to Goreme felt like we were back at home in southern Utah, but the call to prayer reminded us that we were actually far from home. It's so weird to be in wilderness and be hearing that, the call to prayer. So cool. Back in Goreme, we settled in for a break and a delicious lunch.
And some herbs. It's got like an orange drizzle on it as well.
Ooh, yeah.
Now we get our Turkish pita, Pide. It's like their Turkish pie, Turkish pizza. And this one has cheese and mushrooms. Those two. They're so cute. Choosing to walk to the next chapter of our adventure brought smiles seeing all the unique sights along the way. But we were eager to explore the Goreme Open Air Museum, a 1,000-year-old cultural hub carved into rock. That's like 5 stories. Churches, monasteries, and living quarters, once a gathering place to thousands of people, hewn from natural stone pillars and chimneys. Between the 9th and 13th centuries, Christians created this sanctuary to be a haven among the stones. Despite the dimly lit spaces they lived in, the vibrant wall paintings we saw were breathtaking, full of intricate, colorful details that have lasted for centuries.
So weird to have this like 3 stories up off the ground.
It's easy to look around and see rocks with holes and a layer of paint, but picturing people, children, monks, worshippers living and learning in these caves turned cathedrals gave the sense of a heartbeat to the still stone walls. Though they seem long abandoned and not easily lived in other similar cave cities in the area, people lived in them even up until the 1950s. Alright, we're just biding our time here at the playground at the school just across the street from our hotel, waiting for our sister, Tia Chloe, to come with us. Found her!
Yeah. Took long enough.
Oh, it was a long day.
It's a journey.
But we're here.
We're here.
Hit it. With my sister joining us, we were ready for the next level of adventure, a level 200 feet below ground level. Kaymakli at its peak housed a staggering 6,000 people in these tunnels that number in the thousands, along with their animals and supplies. Ingenious air shafts and clever design made room for kitchens, sleeping quarters, schools, churches, and even wineries. Kyle, the holy light has been bestowed upon you.
You see the ventilation shaft here, we're just on the first floor. Hi, Beezy.
It was mind-blowing to think about people thriving in such a deep and expansive space. And we channeled their bravery as we explored its depths.
Look at this big stone.
Getting some nice shots of your butt here.
Oh, yeah.
It was mind-blowing to think about people thriving 8 stories below ground.
That is just not very big. We're on our hands and knees here crawling through. It's crazy.
What do you think? Could we stay in a room this size?
I think a few of our hotels have been about this size.
Reese sure seems to like it. Whoa.
I want to go back. This is our new home.
New home. That's
home.
Sounds lovely.
We are now cave people.
Afterward, we rewarded ourselves with a well-earned treat.
What do you think? How's the juice?
Fresh.
It's very fresh.
My mouth pucker, but
Yeah.
so good. To walk a mile in someone's shoes, you need the right outfit. And maybe some pottery skills. My sister and I left Kyle and Reese behind to try a pottery class in an ancestral home. Let's just say we walked away with a newfound respect for Turkish pottery. Because, spoiler alert, our creations were far from masterpieces. Is that what you had hoped to make the first time?
I don't know what I was planning.
The sun was just beginning to rise. The Cappadocian landscape was waking up, and it was finally our turn to explore the landscape from above.
Woo! How do you think, Bales? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm so freaking excited. I was up an hour early.
I'm terrified of heights, so this is going to be fun.
As the balloon lifted off, I gripped the edge tightly, unsure if I'd enjoy the view or keep my eyes glued shut. But with every moment, the beauty around me replaced fear with awe. As the sun began to rise, we joined the morning spectacle of glowing hot air balloons lifting off, one by one, into the golden light.
Wow.
It feels unreal.
It's so quiet up here. Except for that.
The soft light unveiled a surreal landscape below. Towering rock formations, ancient cities carved into stone, and valleys that stretched out in every direction.
Unlike anything I've ever done.
It is so cool.
That's amazing. Scary.
As we began our descent, I assumed the ride was over, but boy was I wrong. Our pilot expertly navigated us, weaving between other balloons and dipping into steep valleys lined with rock-carved dwellings. At times we got so close to the buildings, it felt like we could reach out and touch them.
Oh my gosh. We're buzzing the tower.
Even with my fear of heights, I can confidently say this was one of the most unforgettable travel experiences of my life. Months later, I still catch myself smiling just thinking about it. When we finally landed, safely back on solid ground, we celebrated with a champagne toast. A perfect ending to our truly magical time in Cappadocia.
Up next, we journey back in time to the legendary city of Ephesus. Walking along the ancient stone roads and through tunnels, it was surreal to imagine life here over 2,000 years ago.
Here we go.
We were walking in the footsteps of the Ephesians. Ephesus is often regarded as one of the best preserved Roman ruins in the world outside of Italy. It's a treasure trove of everything iconic about Roman culture: grand amphitheaters for performances and preaching, intricate street art, and awe-inspiring architecture. The city also showcases Roman ingenuity, from water systems and transportation to public restrooms, although it's worth noting they're strictly for viewing these days. The Great Theater of Ephesus, with a capacity of 25,000, must have been an incredible venue for gatherings, performances, and sermons. Standing there, it was easy to picture the energy of the crowds. Today, though, we enjoyed a different kind of performance. Then there was the Library of Celsus, a true masterpiece. Its stunning two-story facade, adorned with intricate carvings and perfect symmetry, seemed to radiate enlightenment and knowledge. At the library's entrance, 4 female statues stand as symbols of Roman ideals: wisdom, knowledge, intelligence, and excellence. While we stood in awe, Reese had other priorities. It turns out, even world-class ruins can't compete with nap time. Next, we visited the House of the Virgin Mary, a sacred site believed to be her final resting place. Whether or not the historical evidence confirms its authenticity, the spiritual energy of this place is undeniable. The walls surrounding are adorned with scraps of paper and cloth, bearing prayers and wishes in dozens of languages.
Up next, we make our way to Turkey's bustling capital, Istanbul. This incredible city spans 2 continents, Asia and Europe, And with a population of about 15 million, it's the largest city in Europe, and it's not hard to see why. Our journey began at one of Istanbul's most iconic landmarks, the Hagia Sophia. Today, it's a functioning mosque, so visitors should dress modestly.
She knows what she's doing.
She's got it down.
Entry is free, but the lines can be long. Completed in 537 AD under the orders of Roman Emperor Justinian I, its massive dome was the largest in the world for nearly a millennium, only surpassed by Brunelleschi's dome in Florence during the Renaissance. Originally a cathedral, then a mosque, then a museum, and now once again a mosque, the Hagia Sophia is a symbol of Istanbul's layered history. The architectural blend of Byzantine and Ottoman elements tells a story that spans centuries.
What do you think, baby?
So cool.
That's really cool.
It really is. It feels like a gold box.
This was our first time visiting a mosque, and it was a deeply enriching experience. We observed worshippers performing salat, a ritual prayer performed 5 times daily at specific times. Worshippers face the Kaaba in Mecca, with movements symbolizing humility and submission to Allah. After exploring the Hagia Sophia, we ventured out to experience another facet of Istanbul life, its rich culinary tradition, which, like the city itself, blends influences from across the globe. As the sun set over Istanbul's rooftops, we dined on mouth-watering traditional Turkish dishes, many of which were once served centuries ago to the Sultan himself.
You don't belong here.
You guys are so cute.
The lamb shank, slow-cooked to perfection, was tender and delicious, and the sweetness of apricots and the warmth of spices blended beautifully. Then came a unique favorite, a stuffed melon filled with savory minced meat, currants, and almonds.
That looks good, Chloe.
It is.
Day 2. Cool stick. With sticks in hand, we stepped into the Topkapi Palace, the former home of Ottoman sultans and a true masterpiece of design. We picked an entrance at random, not knowing what treasures we might stumble upon. Inside, we did find a treasure, not of gold or jewels, but of silks and velvets, lavishly embroidered and inscripted with calligraphy that once symbolized power, wealth, and authority.
These are talismanic shirts.
The artistry left us in awe.
What'd you think?
So cool. I feel underdressed. The next stop, the Sultan's Library. Every detail from the intricate tile work to the illuminated manuscripts emphasized the immense value placed on knowledge.
She's so pretty.
Whether wandering the courtyards or marveling at the interiors, we found beauty at every turn, both in this culture so different from our own and in sharing the experience with our family.
Oh my goodness, you're so quick.
Here in the Women's Palace, I'll let you take in the stunning gold leaf geometric designs, the intricate tiled walls, and the surprisingly lifelike wax figurines. After our palace explorations, it was time to hit the road, almost quite literally, as trains sped by just a little too close for comfort.
Wow. That was new.
We stopped for fresh lahmacun, corn, and simit. And while we each managed a few bites, Reese wasted no time in claiming her share.
Is that good? That's so good, huh?
Hey, corn off the cob.
I had maybe 2 bites before she took over and devoured the whole thing.
Oh, and now you would like some of mine? Recharged, we made our way to one of Istanbul's most iconic landmarks, the Blue Mosque. As we approached the stone structure, we couldn't help but notice the cascading dome stacked looked like a stone waterfall. It's beautiful. My sister and I covered our hair as other women did out of respect. My first thought, absolute brilliance. The walls seemed to glow with bright blue tiles spanning the ceiling, catching the light pouring in through the stained glass windows. Every inch felt alive with energy and devotion. It's mind-boggling to think that this architectural wonder, despite its immense size and detail, was completed in just 8 years.
Wow. It's just so beautiful.
The Sultan of the time poured a staggering 150 million AKC into its construction, a fortune that would translate to hundreds of millions of dollars today. After such a day, we felt like treating ourselves to a Sultan-worthy dinner. A restaurant nestled in a nearby neighborhood with great reviews served us our favorite meal of lamb and fresh vegetables, kept perfectly hot and flavorful by a complimentary tabletop fire. Absolutely delicious.
On our final day in Istanbul, we decided to set out and see the city on foot, soaking in its rhythm. The Galata Tower stood tall above us, its 14th century stone walls offering a glimpse into the past. Though we didn't climb to the top, we wandered the streets around, cobblestone alleys lined with historic buildings. One small restaurant tucked away in an industrial district adjacent caught our eyes. Here we enjoyed a hearty lunch, the kind of meal that local workers might savor during a break. Making our way across the iconic Galata Bridge, stretching across the Golden Horn, we watched local fishermen line up, casting their lines into the water below in hopes of a fresh catch. Visiting the Spice Bazaar and Grand Bazaar, you are struck with the vibrant colors of the spices, fruits, and candies. But as we walked around, I began to feel a bit underwhelmed. The products felt cheap and overpriced, and every negotiation seemed more like a performance.
Rose petal and pomegranate with some pistachio nuts. That's good.
We left with a couple of items, more for the sake of the experience than their actual value, making it a place worth visiting for its ambiance, but not necessarily for a good shopping experience. But again, this comes from someone who definitely wouldn't classify themselves as a shopper. We then made our way up the hill to the Soleimani Mosque, where we paused to take in one last view of Istanbul, its skyline a mix of minarets, domes, and the timeless waters of the Bosphorus. As we stood there looking out over the city that had left such an impression on us, we reflected on everything we'd seen, its history, its vibrant culture, and the incredible journey we have shared. If you've enjoyed this journey with us, consider subscribing to our channel. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please consider supporting us on Patreon. It covers the cost of video production and helps us keep these adventures going. Next time we find ourselves exploring Spain. Thanks for watching, and as always, dream big and enjoy the journey.